Hi, Mo.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm not sure if your hair is shorter than when I saw you last, but I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, like
A lot
um
shorter.
13 inches. Yeah.
Holy moly, it looks great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, look, we got a crowd coming on. Everyone wants to hear from you today,
Oh,
Miss Mo.
it's kind of scary. Oh, now what did I do? What did I do? Bree, what I do? I have no
You're
idea. Oh,
good. I can see you okay. Well,
there.
Mo, kick us off. Maybe give us an introduction if there are people on the call that don't know who you are, and let us know kind of how you got a niche in the foreclosure world.
Sure. I'm Mo Wlodarczyk. I have been selling foreclosures for 23, 24 years. How did I do it? I worked for an REO agent back in 1999 is when I started, and I pretty much ran his team. Then 2007, I left and I decided to do this on my own because I did most of the work. So why not get most of the money? Um, so I took clients that he had fired and clients that had fired him, and that's how I started. Um, so that was how I started in the business. And then I just accumulated clients as they you know as my asset managers moved to different companies, and you know
That's
went to
great.
conferences, which is a big deal. You have to do that a lot. Go to a lot of conferences, meet people, do a lot of networking that way.
Oh, okay. So is that how I have people ask me all the time how they even get plugged into that world? What are these conferences? How does somebody even get plugged into this world?
So you have to have money to be in
Okay.
the world. Right now, just on one property, I have probably $40,000 outstanding waiting for payment for almost a year on a rehab. So
Wow.
people really need to think hard if this is what they want to do. Because please excuse me, I'm sitting in an eviction and my assistant is sitting next to me for the sheriff's. So she's laughing at me as I'm
This is
talking.
like live and living color education,
Right,
actually.
exactly. I was planning on not being at an eviction, but with that, things come up.
That's
Um,
right.
so yes, so that is unusual. It's never usually that much money, but we've been doing this rehab for over a year. So um, it has been very, and there I go again. Did I lose you?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just keep talking and we'll try and figure it out. Um, so yeah, so you do have to have funds behind you. A lot of them have requirements of um, how much in funds that they require. Um, Five-star conference is probably the one that most people would go to first. It's the largest one, and it gives you a little bit of background on everything. Um, you don't get as many personal client meetings at that, but that's most likely you're not that's not going to happen right away. Um, because in order to get the really good meetings with those clients, you need to belong to groups that you like. The one I just went to, it was a private group, and you know I pay like $400 a month to belong to this group, but you have to be vetted. They go through the state, they check your state stuff, they check all your references, they need to know what your numbers are before they will allow you in. So that's really the best way to get clients. But you have to have a little background. So I would say five-star, which is in September, and it's in Texas,
Okay.
and it's usually the one everybody starts at.
Okay. That's really good to know. And would
Mhm.
that be the same as if somebody is, say, like the go-to listing agent for a bank or something, do you think they formed that relationship through the bank, or did it go through like a private group conference like you're talking
It
about?
depends on what bank it is.
Mhm.
Local small banks, maybe not, but the
Okay,
bigger ones, probably. And
okay,
a lot of the banks don't even do it any longer. Most of the banks go through asset management companies.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm taking my own notes here today,
That's
Mo.
fine. That's fine.
So, this I thought was a great question. We've all had this happen. We show our client a property. It's like in a hurry, they want to write the letter, and then you're like, oh crap, I don't have an account on whatever site this is supposed to be submitted on.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give? Like, what accounts should the normal realtor have, whether it's HUD or another site? What websites should they have accounts through and get familiar with?
I would say the HUD obviously should be one, although HUD's doesn't have a ton of properties right now. They're selling most of their properties in their bulk sales. Um, Home Path, which
Mm,
is May's website.
yep.
Home Stops, which is Freddie Mac's website.
Home Stop, did you say?
Apps. Home.
Okay.
Um, then I use ResNet. It's RES.net. Um, I'm getting notes from my neighbor. um, um, Prop offers. So that's www.proffers.com. You think any other ones that we do right online? Go right to.
Hubzu?
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the biggest ones I would think. There's a lot of new guys coming in that each client, when they move to another site, all of a sudden will get a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
so I would say that those are probably the biggest one. When they
And
are making an offer or even showing the property, look at the MLS comments.
Mhm.
Look at and if you're going to show a property and it says submitted on ResNet, then go make your appointment on ResNet. I
Oh,
mean,
that,
your account on ResNet. And if it says
mhm.
to go do whatever else, make those accounts when you're going to show the property. That way, if they do decide they want it, it's not a crazy rush.
Yes. Can we say that again? Look at the MLS comments first.
I could say that to everybody. Look at the MLS comments first. I could say that 44 times, and it's not going to matter because a lot of people do not like to read. But that's okay. It is what it is.
That is too
But
funny.
my company and my brokerage, we all read, so we don't have
That's
that.
right. So we're good here.
Yes.
Mo, when they are creating accounts on these sites, what things should they be prepared for? Do they need to have like our broker number or
The
because
only one is HUD that you need a broker number on.
okay, perfect. I'll sometimes get a random text over the weekend. What's our broker number? So I need to have that on like a FAQ somewhere.
That's okay. You could just forward me the emails or or
You
the
are
phone
always
calls. I'll tell them what it is.
So let me ask you this. On some of these sites, I've also seen there is a fee to even submit the offer.
Correct.
Is this best practice? Is that paid by you? Is it paid by the buyer? If it's paid by the buyer, do you just type in their credit card number? How's that work?
So none of those fees are paid until closing. So they're all going to be on, at closing. So if your property is not accepted, if your offer is not accepted, there's no reason for you to worry about paying anything.
Okay.
unless you're at an auction site, and that's a totally different bird. But for a regular site, you pay at the end. You can have your buyer pay for it, but I would have that obviously in your buyer agreement ahead of time. I have my own fees to pay, and the selling agent has their own fees to pay. So
Sure.
if it's in the MLS and it's telling you need to pay a fee, that is on the person selling the property.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well answered. You mentioned auction sites. Let's talk about auction sites.
Okay.
What do we need to know on auction sites? What is the best practice? Like I have seen before, you submit an offer, but you can also have what your cap amount is. Do you start low? Do you come in strong? How do people win on an auction site, and any
Hold
advice
on
you
a
would
moment.
give? Sure.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry. Sheriff was coming over. He's got him. Okay. So
I'll go over
basically, thank you. I appreciate it. So basically, best practice is, the values are very low. So, excuse me, not the values, the commissions are very low. So you need to make sure before you even show an auction house, that's the first thing you need to do is look at that commission, because sometimes it's $400. And that's before all this stuff happened with NAR. This is, you need to make sure you look at that ahead of time. In addition, you need to make sure your buyer knows that there's a $2,500 buyer fee, or there's a $5,000 buyer premium, whatever they call it. It's a fee that the buyer will have to pay in addition to whatever they're paying for the property. So the buyer has to pay you an additional commission and their additional fees. So make sure that before you even show it, that they are aware of those things. That it's, if you're on an auction site, you're showing it, that's what's going to be required of them.
Okay, that's great advice. Do you have a chance on the auction sites to increase your bid? Is it better to come in strong? Do you have any opinions there?
Come in with what you want to pay for it. Don't,
Okay.
because it just makes the most sense unless you're going to sit there and watch it. And some of them, every time somebody bids, they add a few minutes, but some of them don't. And, depending on the site, and I can't tell you one from another, some of them will just take something. Oh, I like that number, I'm taking it before it's supposed to be over. So
Yeah.
go in, don't lollygag, go in with your best shot.
Okay. That's great advice. Have you seen, I know we're in a weird time where we have not seen a ton of foreclosures. Have you seen them tick back up at all? And what can we expect as far as where the market's headed?
Yes, they have ticked up. I think they will continue to. We're not going to see anything like we saw in 2008, 2010. That's not going to happen again. I think the banks are smarter now.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to go to short sales more. They know they're going to lose less money if they're on a short sale,
Okay.
because people are still in the house, which is normally a requirement of a short sale. So you go, they're still there, they're taking care of it. Those are the type of things that, if they leave, who knows what's going to happen to the property. It's going to sit there, pipes can burst, so I think they realize now that, loss mitigation doesn't just mean money, dollar amounts. It means property condition and things like that and I think their loss mitigation back in the day was, they were very hard to work with. They're a bit easier at this point. Not much, but a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super interesting though. So you think, yes, foreclosures are ticking back up, but we're probably going to see more short sales than we
Correct.
are foreclosures.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
Right. And there's if it's an owner property, a property that's owner occupied, that's what a short sale will require. There's also there's a group that you can sign up with and belong to. It's called CDPE, which is Certified Distressed Property Experts. And you can go in, take their classes. They have forms, they have tons of information. They have webinars all the time. So sometimes I'm a CDPE. It certainly gives you a lot of knowledge.
Okay.
And I'm not a Facebook person. I don't use Facebook, but once you get on a group like that, there are people in there asking questions and people in there answering questions. So if you have a short sale and you have a question, you can go to that group and they will help you.
Okay.
Because they're not really, they're not your competitors,
Right.
they're from the whole country. So
Yeah, that's I put it in the chat, just for anybody if they want to see. I'll put some of those I wanted to put the group you talked about in the beginning.
mhm.
The convention, I'll put that in the chat as well. Oh, there's Michaeline. So Mo, something else I wanted to ask you on short sales is and whether it's on the seller or buyer side, maybe let's talk seller first. What expectations would you set if you're in a listing appointment? We think it could go short sale route. I mean, is that a year? Like, I feel short sales sit there forever. What proper expectations would you give somebody who's going that route?
I would certainly say, I don't think a year any longer.
Mhm.
But a lot of it depends on the seller. So during a listing appointment, the seller needs to know that they are going to be required to give a ton of information. They have to give a couple years of taxes. They have to give, their budget. They have so many, payroll for the past 6 months from all parties in the house. There's a lot of information. So they have to be organized and they have to make sure that they answer promptly when they request things. So that I think is the biggest thing that sellers don't realize. They have to write letters explaining why, things like that.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be 2 pages. It could be one paragraph, but they just need, hey, I was divorced. I'm a single mom now. I got 3 kids, something like that. So they just need to know the reasoning.
Okay.
So that's expectations. I think for the seller is paperwork is the biggest one.
Okay. That's great advice. Any on the buy side that you would give them? Just patience.
Time, patience and time. Yeah. The only issue I think you would have is that they will do a price opinion, and you have to cross your fingers that that price opinion doesn't come out higher than you're paid, because they will not sell it lower than that.
Okay.
So if that price opinion comes out, it's kind of like your appraisal,
Yes.
getting a loan.
Almost done.
Hold on. No, not yet. You need.
I'm not going inside.
Oh, I'll go inside. Just sit down. We'll go in a minute.
Sorry, Mo.
It's okay. We're in a great neighborhood.
We'll wrap you up soon. I did want to ask you this. I did want to ask you this. In your experience, what do you wish more agents knew when representing a buyer, either on a foreclosure deal or a short sale?
I think what I would wish is that they would read when I send out information. I send out an entire email with instructions, and the instructions will say, I need your earnest money. That's one of the instructions. It has to be payable to the seller's title company, no matter what title company is doing the transaction. Don't send me a package with no earnest money and then say, well, we'll do it after inspections. That's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It works. Here's my paperwork. Here's what I spent a lot of time, typing up for you. So it's easy for you. And then you come back with, incomplete paperwork. And I have timelines and I have report cards. So if your paperwork is late to me, I am late on my timelines.
Yes.
So that's urgency. You know, when it says 24 hours, I have 24 hours.
Yep.
So, you know, I have to go through and make sure your package is properly, you know, submitted. Did you get every initial? Is the dollars right? You know, don't send me a cross out from your first offer that you put in with the price change. I need a new contract. I mean, all this is listed out. So read, call the agent if you have questions.
I was
We
going to
would
ask
rather do
that.
it
Are you
right.
upset or annoyed if somebody reaches out and they're like, hey, I've never done a HUD deal or I haven't done this. Can you help?
I have no problem with that. Will I say all agents are like that? Probably not. But if you say to somebody, I don't know what I'm doing, I need your assistance, nobody in their right mind is going to tell you no. So, you know, it's a big, you know, we want to do it right the first time. We don't want issues. We do not want, you know, things to come back. So, I have no problem. I would rather you call me and let's get it done the right way.
Yes, that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
And then something else I wanted to ask you is, Mike Magno, you might pipe in here as well. People often will ask, whether it's buyers or agents, what are your thoughts on share of sales? Have you seen much success in share of sales? Anything anyone needs to know or be aware of?
Probably the biggest is that normally you cannot access the property.
Mhm.
Legally, you're not supposed to bother the occupants if there are people in there.
Yeah.
Legally, be careful. But I will say, yeah, there are a lot of properties that are going back now to not going back to the bank because they are going to regular normal parties as opposed to being sent back to the bank. Because sheriff sales are the prices are going up and the
Mhm.
inventory is so low that the investors are doing more at the sheriff sale because they can't buy anything anywhere else.
Yes. Okay. That makes sense. Uh, Mo, before I let you go, and I'm going to open it up to questions. What was the group? So I have the CDPE. You also talked to, oh, is it 5-star conference? Is the conference you recommended? Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm putting that in the chat for people. As well as you also talked about some groups that you could be a part of. Is there any groups you'd recommend, or as people maybe go to 5-star, they'll hear about
Yeah.
groups?
You would need, I mean, a lot of them you're going to need 3 or 4 years experience.
Okay,
And so you're going to know by that time, you'll know. And, you
got it.
know, certain ones are, you know, certain companies that you work for prefer certain ones.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, yeah, you'll learn as you go, you know. There's a bunch of them. Some of them, you know, are free. Some of them are worthless and you pay
Yeah,
money for it. So it's just, you know, and anybody has questions on it, I'm going to sign up for this group. Call me. I'll be happy to let them know what my opinion is.
that's great. And would you say, I know there's a minimum standard of experience, is it also based on price range of homes you've sold? Like, what if you haven't sold many investment properties, yet you want to get into it? Have you needed to sell in a certain price range?
No, it's just mostly how many bank owns you've sold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I am going to open up the floor to anybody who has a question for Mo. You can either unmute or type it in the chat. This has been super helpful, Mo.
I'm glad.
And I'll tell you what, you saying, I'm actually very surprised today that you said you think short sales are will be making a comeback. Like, that is going to be some information we need to learn. I know Rick Tannenbaum knows short sales as well.
It's quite fun. Such a fun job.
Okay, well, I don't see any questions popping up. I thank you so much. I might do a little recap of some of the groups that you mentioned, sites you mentioned, and we greatly appreciate you, Mo.
My pleasure. It was fun. I'll be
Yes.
happy to answer anybody else's questions if they come up later. Feel free, give me a ring and I'll or shoot me an email.
Perfect. You got
Thank
it.
you,
Thank
Mo.
you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mo.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.